The Hamilton musical, delicately crafted by the talented hands of Lin-Manuel Miranda, was considered a masterpiece by many upon its initial release. Glorified by both media and the general public, simply a few months after its debut, the musical became a melting pot for different types of devoted supporters. Artists, writers, and many others wanted to share their burning passion for this treasure. Hamilton took the internet by storm. It was either gently recommended to you or shoved in your face. Either way, you wouldn't be able to ignore it. The tone surrounding the musical has shifted drastically, with most active participants of the fandom looking back upon their Hamilton years in either shame or some reluctant acceptance. There are those who appreciate the good times we've shared, but the conversation regarding the musical itself has become much more critical. Rightfully so, might I add. That being said, its current reputation is a far cry from the cult-like following it had years ago. As an ex-active participant of the fandom myself, I could recall many bizarre fan creations, which not many people seem to bring up when the topic arises. There are some real gems hidden underneath all that usual Jefferson Miku binders, and I was determined to unravel the lost media of the Hamilton fandom, as weird as it may be. That's what I decided to devote my time to. Join me, my viewers, and let's unravel the mystery of the Hamilton fandom together. This video is heavily based on a script I've written way back in 2018, when Hamilton was still fresh in my mind. That being said, I've unlocked quite a few memories when rereading the script in 2024. Huge thanks to Yulia, aka Shin, who helped me find and recover many of the more obscure creations. Additionally, she provided a lot of feedback regarding the script itself. Huge thanks to Miss Shin, and we'll be hearing more from her later. I must stress that the aim of this video is not to harass any of the creators mentioned. We'll have some laughs at the weird Hamilton art, but I want to emphasize that I don't think any of the creators deserve to be ridiculed. I want to archive the Hamilton fanbase and open a discussion about it, not make fun of the people mentioned. Not only were many of them minors at the time, but laughing at other people like that is just plain rude. Some of these artists are still active online, and I don't want to cause them any unwelcome attention with this video. I can understand how someone digging dirt on your online past might be an unpleasant experience, and I don't want to expose people to this train wreck if they made the conscious decision to distance themselves from it. I tried contacting some of the artists to get their thoughts on the whole experience, but they either didn't reply or had their DMs closed off. I will be crediting their online persona from when these posts were made, but I won't be linking them to any currently active accounts unless the artists themselves speak up and decide to own their Hamilton phase. If somehow any of the artists mentioned end up watching this, it's time to take a shot. Let's go back in time. 2015. Hamilton came out and gained its loyal fanbase. The internet became a battleground for Hamilton content. No matter your skill level, if you made a Hamilton-related video, it was guaranteed to get you thousands of views. However, the real cause of Hamilton's acclaim were the previously underrated artists who found hidden potential in the already engaging soundtrack. The Hamilton animatics blew up, and many artists of diverse skill levels were uploading wonderful animations. Though one of them stood out the most. They go by many names, but during the Hamilton era they were known as Galactibun. They didn't start the animatic craze, but they certainly popularized it. Their videos became recognized among the fandom and their channel grew rapidly. Galactibun posted video after video, with little time in between. Additionally, their art style seems to be improving with every post, meaning their fans could expect a visible upgrade with each new animation or drawing. Their popularity came with its fair share of copycats as well. Many artists looked up to them and ended up being quite directly influenced by their art style. Hamilton fan art ended up developing this specific type of stylization, kind of cartoony proportions with a glossy finish. Nowadays, I often see people comparing it to Steven Universe, though back in the day it very clearly could be traced back to Galactibun. While they certainly weren't the inventor of such style, it was clear they were the ones somewhat popularizing it in the fandom. Galactibun was the Hamilton artists after all. Their style got so popular to the point where people were accused of copying them quite often. If your video was 1. A Hamilton animatic, 2. Drawn in a cartoony fashion, then you'd get at least one kid in your comment section telling you to unplug your entire computer. It got to the point where the Galactibun themselves posted a whole video dedicated to addressing the copying issue, yet its contents are unfortunately lost to time. I do remember seeing the video when I was younger, and if my memory serves, it boiled down to let people live. But as their views got higher, the demand for animatics grew larger and larger. People were quick to forget that the great mind behind those animatics was just a kid, trying to have fun and express themselves. While it was overwhelming, the young artists faced the challenge and devoted their time to satisfy the endlessly expanding fanbase. But just how much pressure can one child handle? It was clear that Galactibun wasn't reacting very well to this newfound attention. Popularity came with its fair share of critics or fans who were simply too involved. There was an issue of imposter accounts as well, people not just reposting their art, but straight up pretending to be them. Really gross and creepy on multiple levels. A notable instance of the artist's boundaries being pushed is their Say No to This animatic. For those who don't know, the song Say No to This depicts Hamilton's affair with Maria Reynolds. It's not explicit, but it does feature a lot of suggestive wording and seductive tones. You could see why Galactibun, a literal child, would not be comfortable animating this particular song. Nevertheless, their fans seemed to pressure them to the point where the artists released their own form of a rebuttal. They posted the animatic, which cuts away the moment the song is about to get suggestive. Instead, we're faced with the animator telling us directly that they are not comfortable with the amount of people requesting the song, basically telling their followers to stop asking them about it. While I'm glad Galactibun stood their ground, it's sad to see how much pressure they must have felt. A pressure which soon came to a boiling point. Whether it was the negativity, the lack of motivation, or simply boredom, Galactibun decided it was about time to move on from the Hamilton fandom. Their audience reacted to these news as well as you might expect. While they received support from many, there were also those who felt they were truly entitled to their content. Despite Galactibun deleting or privatizing their animations, people would repost them to hell and back. It did make it easier for me to provide examples for this video, but I'm sad to know it probably came at the cost of the original creator's comfort. Hell, some of my old Hamilton art has been reposted in the past too, so I can sort of imagine how it feels. That being said, Galactibun held their chin up high and moved on to better things, honing their artistic skill in other projects. However, their fans were determined to find another content creator to latch onto like a tick, feeding off of its innocent prey. Hence the Shin era began. Guaranteed consistent animatics, improvement with each frame, and fanservice included, Shin was creating animatics faster than you can say Galactibun whom. While the young artist still remained in the fandom's memory, Shin was the new talk of the town. Perhaps part of Shin's success was due to her style being so different from Galactibun's that people simply couldn't question her originality. That being said, people were quick to imitate her style as well. I feel like it's important to recognize that it often came from a place of adoration rather than malice. Shin's current Hamilton animatic count stands at an impressive 25, with easily over an hour of runtime. She definitely had fun making those videos, but one thing became apparent. The pressure was overwhelming. Shin was in middle school at the beginning of her journey. It was easy to make these videos with the amount of free time she had on her hands. However, real life would soon catch up, in addition to the work required to make those animatics better increasing drastically. It was a recipe for burnout basically, though people enthusiastically watched her videos while the Hamilton hype train lasted. She was one of the unofficial faces of the fanbase. But what of the other content creators? Who else stood out from the crowd? Meet laizy-boy, another talented and dedicated Hamilton fan who decided to share their drawings with the world. They were determined to stand out from the sea of animators and create somewhat original works to accompany the soundtrack, which has already met countless interpretations. Hence, the gender-bent animatics appeared on the horizon. Imagine if Hamilton was a schoolgirl anime and you'd have an average laizy-boy video. It might not be anything new to some of you, but I feel the need to expand on the idea of gender bending a bit further. The discourse surrounding gender-bent characters has shifted quite a bit in recent years. The scholars remain divided, so to speak, so I'm only able to provide my opinion as a trans person. The core idea behind the gender-bent art is to take already existing characters and swap their gender, usually between male and female. The resulting art often reeked of gender roles and stereotypes with a hint of horniness. While the artists themselves probably had no ill intent, the result of their work often reinforced a pretty strict gender binary, not to mention that the post-gender bent characters often looked nothing like their original version. That being said, in recent years I've seen more and more artists taking a more creative approach to gender bending, one removed from the heteronormative standards. I think that's certainly a turn for the better, though overall I find the trend to be quite boring. But I wouldn't go as far as to say it's inherently damaging. If you want to draw the whole cast of Hamilton as anime girls, go crazy, but just don't expect me and my fellow big-brained art enjoyers to like it. Now, back to the Hamilton train wreck. While laizy-boy became most certainly guilty of the gender-bent trend, she also contributed to other harmful movements. They had this sort of anime style which is known for not being the best when it comes to depicting characters of color. Some of you might bring up the argument that, well, they can choose to draw however they please. And I suppose that's right, they can choose whatever style they like, and it's not like the drawings were racist per se, just clearly not representative of the original cast. But that's where the issue lies. It's important to take a step back and look at the original aim of the Hamilton musical. It's a story about the founding fathers of America being depicted specifically by a cast made exclusively of people of color. Uplifting and highlighting people of color is the core of the Hamilton musical, as ironic as that sentence may be given the character it's based on. That being said, the fandom definitely stood by this message of inclusivity. Now, going back to laizy-boy, you can see why people had a problem with her depictions of the characters. A lot of people consider it to be whitewashing the cast, which seems about right. That, in addition to the gender bend thing, is what caused a lot of people to distance themselves from the artist. However, it was far from the weirdest thing they did. I'd like you to consider the following: Hamilton's psycho alternative universe, in which Hamilton's children became bloodthirsty killers for reasons unknown. It's not clear what laizy-boy had in mind when creating this AU. I know I have plenty of questions, like, why? The weird blend of underage characters being killers is something you see in anime quite a lot, so I suppose I see where that idea came from. Then again, why Hamilton's kids? They're not even in the musical. I'm not one to necessarily poke fun at someone's art, given that my own is far from perfect, but I must ask you this. If I were to show you this image, would you be able to tell it's a piece of Hamilton fanart? But let's get to the bottom of this. How would someone even get this idea? It seems so random, right? Well, the answer to that question is unfortunately rooted in real-life events. As fans of the musical may know, Alexander's eldest child, Philip Hamilton, died in a duel at the age of 19. One of his younger siblings, Angelica, is reported to have had a mental breakdown due to her loss. I'm not comfortable describing details of her condition, but it appears she was never able to recover. Overall, the topic is rather grim. With that in mind, you can see how depicting her as a murderous kid wasn't exactly a good idea. Also, the name itself, Psycho AU, is just in such poor taste. Not only is it an incorrect use of this terminology, it's also a clear attempt to villainize people struggling with such mental health issues. Like, you're using a real person's struggles to depict mentally ill people as dangerous villains. Real classy. Luckily, people called them out on their art on multiple occasions, both the AU and the whitewashing. We were able to find multiple posts talking about the situation, yet I wasn't able to find any official statement from laizy-boy. From what I recall, they did post some sort of an apology, but I don't remember it being received well. Either way, they deleted everything Hamilton related as they moved on to being problematic in another fandom. laizy-boy wasn't the only one stirring the pot of discourse. Meet bunny-yams, another somewhat popular artist, known for making more cutesy content of the founding fathers, some of which was almost too cute, a bit on the infantile side. The art, again, had those cartoony proportions with big eyes, making the cast look quite young already. In addition, the themes of their work were often on the childlike side, with Alexander having braces, for example. Adults have those too, of course, but the context in which the art was presented definitely felt more like a teen's experience.
Listen here, Metal Mouth. What? Oh no, I'm so sorry. That's not nice.
There was even a whole teen AU, which again is unsurprising. Some artworks would depict the characters as straight-up children, which was much more of a bizarre sight to say the least. It's important to note that the artist was a minor at the time of this art being posted, so I wouldn't jump to any conclusions regarding the motive. That being said, it was off-putting to see. Then again, if you wanted to see the Hamilton cast taking care of a literal baby Alexander, then you're in for a treat.
Here, calm him down. Do something. Wait, like what? I don't know anything. Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you.
I've also seen some people sending hate his way in regards to drawing Hamilton with boobs. Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume that at the time of this art being created, bunny-yams wanted to depict Hamilton as a trans man. And honestly, the Hamilton aspect of it aside, there's nothing wrong with portraying your favorite character as trans. While I agree that a lot of their art was weird and off-putting, I won't agree with people giving them shit about trans art. Not only is this not a problem, but I feel like there's other shit going on there. To the artist's credit, he ended up posting an apology, and it appears he no longer stands by any of the work he made during the Hamilton era. Most notably, he recognized his old art as racist, though I couldn't really find any examples of his work being deemed as such, and he doesn't go into specifics either. What he does mention in his apology, however, is this lovely article on Hamilton's more problematic aspects. It's an interesting read, and I would recommend any past or present fans of the musical to read it. Another infamous artist went by Mushier or Mushroomy. Their special brand of weird seems to be leaning into some killing-stalking territory. Not to mention a lot of people jumped the gun on them in regards to their style, noting it to be a bit too similar to Shin's. To be fair, a lot of people considered her to be an inspiration, and letting her style influence yours isn't a crime. What's more criminal are the themes of rather sexualized violence in their works. Yandere Hamilton isn't something you'd expect, but people seemed really enthusiastic about this sort of content. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy, you'll be happy to know that Zombie Hamilton AU exists as well. I suppose it's more lore accurate.
Apocalypse. Yeah, I'd be slowly walking in a group stalking you. You'd be the only man alive that I could not resist.
On a different note, they were really into shipping, which extended into certain other fandoms. To stay on track, they were a big fan of lambs, that being a pairing of Hamilton and Lawrence. The ship doesn't have much ground to stand on in the musical, as it takes more inspiration from real-life events, which I won't go into. Feel free to research that on your own. I'm not one to police how people should express themselves through art, but I feel like I should mention how much of their content was focused on Lawrence being gay. To be fair, there's nothing wrong with just doing gay content. If you go on my social media, you'll notice I mostly post gay stuff myself. But Mushroomi's art had this weird energy to it. I'm not sure how to describe it, but something about the way they portrayed gay men specifically always left me feeling kind of uncomfortable. It had a very ooh gay boy energy to it. A bit of a cinnamon roll, if you will. Here's the thing, I can't necessarily pinpoint what exactly is so off-putting about this depiction. I can only talk about how it makes me feel as a bi guy, and it just makes me uncomfortable. Take that as you will. However, there's a much bigger discussion to be had in regards to their content. Remember how I mentioned the Galactibun copycats issue? Well, we might have another case of copying on our hands. This time it seems to be much more justified. I've already drawn the comparison between Mushier's style and Shin. It's clear that they were inspired by her content. Of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Taking inspiration from other artists and letting their style influence yours is a completely normal practice. That being said, the copying claim starts to hold more water as we compare the duo's animatics. Let's take a look at Shin's Satisfied and Mushier's Lamb's Satisfied. Watching the two videos side by side was an illuminating experience. Not only do certain shots and compositions overlap, the entire video is structured and even colored the same way as Shin's animatic. Some of these you could make excuses for. A good example is this shot of a candle. Both animations focus on it at the exact same moment, but that's just because the lyrics mention candlelight.
I remember that dream like candlelight, like a dream that you can't quite place.
Like, I can see how two people would come up with the same composition, but the rest, oh boy. During the rewind part of the animatic, you could see the line art change to white as the singers go over the event from an outsider's perspective. It's a choice so specific, it's hard to make excuses for.
I remember that night, I just might. I remember that night, I just might. I remember that night, I remember that. I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days. I remember that night, I just might. I remember that night, I just might. I remember that night, I remember that. I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days.
In Shin's version, Angelica pauses time in order to highlight and explain things to the audience, Cusco style. In Mushier's version, Lawrence does the exact same thing, only the play button was replaced. Again, oddly specific.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
I'm a girl in a world in which my only job is to marry rich. My father has no son, so I'm the one who has to social fly for one. Cause I'm the oldest and the wittiest and the gossip, and New York City is insidious, and Alexander is penniless. Ah! That doesn't mean I want him any less.
Elizabeth Schuyler, where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
I'm a girl in a world in which my only job is to marry rich. My father has no son, so I'm the one who has to social fly for one. Cause I'm the oldest and the wittiest and the gossip, and New York City is insidious, and Alexander is penniless. Ah! That doesn't mean I want him any less.
Elizabeth Schuyler.
The way both characters banter with Hamilton and later gush about him looks the same. The movements, colors, and poses match almost perfectly.
Just you wait.
So this is what it feels like to match wits with someone at your level. What the hell is the catch? It's the feeling of freedom of seeing the light. It's been franked with a keen kite. You see it, right?
Just you wait.
So this is what it feels like to match wits with someone at your level. What the hell is the catch? It's the feeling of freedom of seeing the light. It's been franked with a keen kite. You see it.
Though what really hit me was the moment Helpless creeps into the song.
I turn to see my sister's face and she is, and I know she is, and her eyes are just, and I realize, I turn to see my sister's face and she is, and I know she is, and her eyes are just, and I realize.
I could nitpick the Lamb's animatic and bring up every other similarity, but that would double the length of this video. At the time of this recording, both videos are available on YouTube. I dare you to watch them side by side and take a shot whenever the two animatics overlap. An average Hamilton fan should be of legal drinking age at this point after all. Some of you might bring up a point. This is a lamb's version of Satisfy. Sure, it might be similar, but the point of the animation is to switch the protagonist, not to create a whole new scenario. Allegedly, Mushier cited Shin as a source of inspiration for this video, though I unfortunately cannot confirm nor deny that fact, as if the account Hamilton Trash is to be believed, their YouTube channel was hacked and sold on the black market. Nevertheless, maybe they just wanted to make a gay version of Shin's video. I suppose that's okay. However, this was not an isolated incident. Let's take a look at their video Play Rehearsal, which is a song from yet another musical, Be More Chill. I won't go into details about it, but some veterans might remember how the fandoms between these two musicals overlapped, along with Heathers or even Dear Evan Hansen. That's not important though. What's important is that it was clear just how much Mushier had copied other YouTubers, knowingly or not. I understand if it was maybe one or two similar shots, but almost every other one could be traced to someone else's video. To wrap this up, it's true that a lot of artists got unnecessarily accused of copying Galactibun or Shin. However, in the case of Mushier, it would be difficult to argue otherwise. A lot of people seemed to agree with me on this, though I was unable to find any statements from Mushier that addressed those similarities. The situation is pretty bad, though I feel the need to stress something. Mushier, like most people involved in this video, was a minor during their time in the Hamilton fandom. Kids do this sort of thing, and it doesn't make Mushier a horrible person. In fact, when talking to Shin, she does seem to recall credit being given to her. Mushier was just an inspired child. I'm not providing these examples to drag them through the mud. My aim here is to accurately portray the nature of the fandom. On a different note, there was also the whole whitewashing issue on the table. As mentioned previously with laizy-boy, certain artists in the fandom seemed to have difficulties portraying people of color. Mushier was also guilty of this, unfortunately. If you add the fact that they only focused on one light-skinned couple, then you can see why people had some reservations. One video in particular, Can't Sleep Meme, portrays 3 characters as just straight up white. The comments under the reposted version of the video claim that was due to a lighting issue, but as a digital artist myself, I'm not sure I could just believe that. It's ridiculously easy to just edit your video, even after the entire animation was done. Then again, remember, they were young, so I can see why they would have some difficulties. The nature of the fandom made it hard to give people the benefit of the doubt in those situations, as cases of people being dismissive of people of color were apparent. It's a good example of how the fandom sometimes just straight up didn't take their actions into consideration. With time, artists, big or small, began to slowly drift away from the fandom. People wanted to forget and move on, although some still remained to support the fanbase on their own. Shin was still posting animatics, which inspired many new artists to join in on the Hamilton wagon. One of those artists was Discourse, who began making some animations herself. Despite the fandom facing minor hardships, the fans managed to stay alive for just a while longer. But then, it hit them. Shin posted her last animatic, along with an apology. Though it had been foreshadowed in her Q&A video a while back, nobody believed that Shin herself would actually lose her burning passion for making Hamilton animatics. She animated over half of the musical after all. People were not sure how to handle the loss of another iconic Hamilton content creator. While most of her fans continued to support Shin on her new path of original content, many abandoned ship, leaving mean comments behind. What thoughts could possibly accompany the young artist, I wonder? Well, why not ask Shin herself? After all, she did break into my house and said I'll never see my boyfriend again unless I interview her, so...
Tell me, Philip, how do you look back on your Hamilton days?
In my dreams. I'm a lamb stripper.
Listen, there's a reason I broke in, okay? I'm here for an interview. Please interview me. I need attention, please. I'm not handling the retirement very well.
Yeah, I guess that's the first question. How has been retirement treating you?
I mean, it's been very, just like, a huge weight off my shoulders, to be honest. But also, sometimes I do want to make another channel. I do miss posting something, but I've been too busy to, like, focus on that. But I do plan on opening a new channel, but I will just post, like, OC stuff in there. But overall, I think it's been pretty nice to just, you know, have that knowledge that I don't have to think of anything. I've let go.
So how do you look back on your Hamilton days?
It was just like a cringy middle school phase for me, which is extremely funny considering how my cringy middle school phase videos got popular. Overall, I do look back on it fondly, due to the fact that it gave me like a lot of courage to post my artwork online. I've met you, and honestly, it's been really nice just to witness the scale of it all. Was really something. It was like the biggest fandom I was ever a part of, like as an active participator. I don't think it's something that I could ever recreate, which is, you know, not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It was just something. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, you know. That's why I always struggle with like joining fandoms that are like older. The best times have already passed for it, definitely, and I wasn't there during like the critical moments, and for some reason that just turns me off so much. Like I need to be there during the peak. It's really nice to be in the fandom while like the peak events are happening, and that was Hamilton for me.
Speaking of the fandom, what other creators do you remember?
Honestly, animatic wise, I remember lots. Obviously Galactibun, who basically like kickstarted me to start posting myself because we were like very similar in age. Obviously, I remember like Zixua, Mushier, laizy-boy, I don't know how to read that, but like I remember them as well. When it comes to like the artworks and such, I remember following so many talented people on Tumblr. There were numerous artists there whose names I also can't remember for the life of me. I only remember the artworks, but probably I remember Wraithrill, Objectionable Code or Huality, which oh my god, their stuff was peak. Hi, if you're watching this, your artwork was just the best. And honestly, there were many more, but I just don't remember the names.
You mentioned Mushier, and I wanted to ask, how do you feel about the whole situation with their animatics being so close to yours?
Honestly, back then, I did obviously notice the fact that there were some similarities, but I do remember some people commenting under their videos like, hey, that's like super similar to Shin's. And they started like kinda, I think I remember them giving me some sort of credit, like inspired by Shin or something. I didn't say anything back then because I was super non-confrontational, but given the scale of it all, I think I would probably, I don't know, maybe message them privately like, hey man, like that's kind of similar to mine, like got so similar in some ways that some people confused me for Mushier. Like they would ask, hey, what happened to your say no to this Lambs animatic? And I was like, my what now? What? Which, you know, it's just kind of a silly misunderstanding, but it was kind of awkward trying to explain, like, no, I did not, in fact, draw Hamilton in a dress, shaking in crazy style. Whenever Philip is in the room, I play it, so he leaves.
No. There was one situation where, during New Year's, I was talking to a group of people, and all the people just walked up to me and showed me a very specific photo of Florence, and I had to leave.
Tell me, Philip, do you recognize this frame? What does Lambs mean to you, Philip?
Lambs is a pairing of Lawrence and Hamilton.
Philip, can you draw me Alexander Hamilton, please? I remember I made this comic where I was like, can you draw me Lin-Manuel Miranda, please? And you were like, whatever, yeah, sure. And then it was just... Yeah, I mean, I don't hold, like, Mushier accountable. I think they were a little younger than me. So it's like, I'm not like, after all these years, I'm like, oh, Mushier. It's more like I found it slightly, you know, kind of like, come on, man, like, people are confusing me for you. But I do understand, like, the whole aspect of inspiration also coming in, so I didn't want to be, like, accusing people of stealing from me, because, you know, I also kind of stole from others. I mean, that's how being an artist works. You kind of take pieces of stuff you like from other artists and put them in your own style. It was just that a lot of pieces from my stuff was borrowed or something, and I would probably speak up about it now. Honestly, who cares? It was 8 years ago, we were kids, like, kids do this shit.
But how does it kind of feel knowing that your middle school art style is so popular?
That's hilarious to me, honestly. Back then I used to be bitter about it, like, guys, I can make better stuff now, please don't pay attention to that, but I already accepted that's not gonna happen. It used to be a bit petrifying to me, but now I think it's just very funny, like very comedic almost. Like, of course my shitty drawings from middle school are the stuff I'm known for.
At least your middle school stuff achieved something.
I wish it was something I made in college though, like something better looking.
Actually, do you remember the first time you listened to Hamilton?
My first instance of seeing it was literally this video I just sent you. It's it was my first like time seeing anything related to Hamilton. I was like, oh my god, Warrior Cats, and the song is cool or whatever. But then I saw like the Galactibun animatics. I think it was like the Dear Theodosia reprise or I don't know, Stay Alive or something. I started off right at the end basically, because I started off with like the last couple songs, and then I just you know, watched every animatic with every song that was there.
My first song was like a congratulations animatic.
Oh yeah. That's also
That's
so
not even
specific.
in the musical. Yeah.
Yeah, a Dear Theodosia Reprise wasn't even in the official
Yeah.
soundtrack as well.
So at what point did you start kind of feeling burnt out?
Halfway there, I think. I did like the songs I liked, and then I was like, okay, I gotta make the songs I don't really care for. I think it was like Right Hand Man. I was like, fuck, I don't want to do that one. And when I made Nonstop, I was like, oh, I realized there was this feeling in me where I was like, okay, now Act 2, and I felt like, oh god, I really don't want to do this anymore. Just that kind of moment. Most people took it well. Some were like angry, but they were like literally kids, so like they probably didn't know how to manage their emotions yet.
But still, if you felt burnt out in the middle of Act 1, then you still like went such a long way.
I kind of pushed my way through it.
You have so much to be proud of, though.
Aww.
All of them are really good.
Okay, I guess I will release your boyfriend from the cage. Okay.
Please, oh my fucking god, did he even eat anything?
I mean, I like gave him some like pistachios. He likes them, right? Like,
Bro,
he's
bro,
fine.
he's fucking allergic.
Oh my god! Tell me, Philip, are you
Anyway.
nervous?
If you had to animate one song from Act 2,
Honestly, I would probably go for Burn. Or for... Wait, what was it called? The Thomas Jefferson one. Thomas
What Did I
Jefferson's
Miss?
coming! Yeah, What I Miss. What I Miss slaps. Honestly, the ones where there's like most drama happening, like maybe Stay Alive Reprise type shit, that's what I would go for.
really good at having very expressive characters in very serious moments as well.
Yeah, I really had fun. I really like portraying like very specific emotions, and I loved when people caught on like what I was trying to convey with a specific facial expression.
Yeah, I do remember you making also, I think, a Hopeless AU.
Basically, Eliza and Angelica were swapped. Like Eliza noticed Angelica liked him first, I guess. And people were like playing around with the idea, what would happen? What would their kids be like? And I drew like 3 arts for it because I was like, that was fun. And that was pretty much it. I basically drew lots of things on Tumblr.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
I'd like to say that I'm grateful for it all. Despite like the burnout it gave me, despite the stress, despite the carpal tunnel, I am super grateful that it happened to me. It gave me lots of opportunities, helped me develop my skill way faster, and it made me meet you by you sending me Power Rangers Hamilton meme on Tumblr. That was...
Yeah.
That's what I'll be super grateful for forever.
Aww.
Despite the circumstances.
Yeah, you know what? This would be much sweeter if you didn't have a gun pointed at me.
Honestly. Anyway, listen. Thank you for the interview. I gotta get going. You keep like holding me hostage here. Let me just like here's the key to your boyfriend's cage. I'm going.
Thank
He's like in the
you.
basement or whatever.
We
Thank you
don't
for
have a
having me.
basement, okay.
Thank you for... There's some basement out there he's in, probably. I'm gonna head out. I have to, actually send out job applications. Don't hold me back. I'm leaving.
There.
I'm not staying.
Like for real.
I'm going. Don't
No,
go.
pointing.
I have to go.
It's a very clear line, bro.
Oh my god.
Back to our timeline. Hamilton was getting less and less attention. Remaining art or posts went by unnoticed, so people stopped bothering themselves trying to keep the hype alive. The fandom wasn't able to taste its former glory after the death of most of its influential creators, accompanied by other more casual artists. The fanbase would reduce in numbers and would quickly disappear. All that remains of Hamilton today are just rebels of the fallen kingdom, accompanied by overused Hamilton gags and cookie-cutter jokes. Talk of Hamilton can be heard here and there nowadays, but mostly to ridicule the fans or to discuss past events with a new perspective. Hamilton the musical was truly an experience, and I was lucky enough to watch it unfold before my very own eyes. While I did go a bit harsh on the fanbase in my video, I've learned to look back on my times in the fandom with a positive attitude. I made some friends, one best friend in particular, and I was able to express my love for the musical without the fear of people judging me based on my skill level. It was the first fandom in which I was actively contributing, and I can't help but appreciate that. The fandom had plenty of issues, but I like to think that overall the experience was a positive one. Despite covering quite a bit of some uncharted waters, I'm willing to admit that I've only touched the tip of the iceberg, as I wanted to focus on animatics and fan artists mostly. That being said, I'm curious if you remember anything I might have missed. Me and Shin had a blast going through Tumblr and snooping through the abandoned remains of the fandom. You can join us in reminiscing about those days in the comments below. I'd genuinely love to hear about it. Other than that, I suppose we can consider this case closed.
Now I'm the villain in your history. I was too young and blind to see. I should have known the world was wide enough
I can feel my nerves clicking like the sound of a gun, pointed at the man who aimed at the sky.
Quick sounds quickly ended.
Aaron Burr ended Alexander Hamilton. Like taking a shot. And there was fan art.
You've made fan art.
Yeah. So have you.
You're grieving, Philip. Not for the art that you have drawn, but for the art that was taken from you. If the fandom could have started over, left the horse of its past behind, so could have you. You could untangle yourself from the AUs and the headcanons.
We've made animatics.
We both know the unreality of creating. Of people who died and who have been redrawn. We know in those moments they're not flesh, but light. And color. And anime.
Isn't that what it means to be an artist?
Do you feel like an artist, Philip?
I feel an art block coming on.
Have you experienced the same face syndrome? The lack of ability to draw anatomy? I'd like you to draw Lin-Manuel Miranda, the writer of the musical. No lip bite, no funny pose, just as he is.
Why?
An exercise. I want you to focus on him visually, not focus on drawing him as someone else. Please try to portray him accurately.
Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote several musicals, often worked for Disney.
A simple reminder. Portraying the creator as he is, to know you're truly over this.
Past patiently waiting, I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every action's an act of creation.